What up with you guys? You know who it is. It's your boy John Mike back again. And today we're going to be talking about the top 5 keyboards or MIDI controllers from $200 to $300. I've got some really good contenders here. I've got the Oxygen Pro 61. I've got the Arturia Keylab 49. I've got the Nectar Panorama T6. I've got the Novation Launch Key 49, and I've got the complete A61 here. Great contenders, really dope boards. I've done videos on all of these. They'll be down in the description, up in the cards. As we go through this, you'll be able to check out those, individual reviews and get my individual opinions on those. Now, there may not be some boards on this list or see here that that's in the $200 to $300 range. And again, I only did 61 key. If I was doing top 300 top keyboards from 200 to 300, then I'd include, even some of these 88 keys I got back here in the background, because they live in the 200. Some of those live in the $200 to $300 range, but it's like not an all inclusive. It's just 61 keys, 49 and 61 keyboards that I want to talk about in this particular video. So we're going to cover these in the same way that I always like to cover them and talk about the different functions. We're going to talk about control. We're going to talk about the key bed. We're going to talk about in and out. We're going to talk about portability, and we're going to talk about software. Those are the areas that we're going to talk about. So what you can do for me before we jump into this is go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, drop a comment, do all those things. Tell me which ones are your favorite, and make sure you turn on that notification bell, and let's jump into it. Okay, so when we start talking about control with these particular boards, we're arguing semantics, because all of these boards seem to offer pretty much the same level of control, excluding the A61 over here. But all of the rest of them kind of come with your faders, your knobs, your pads, your transport controls, all of the above. Whereas the complete only gives you the transport controls, gives you a few little options here and there, and then you get the little 8 encoder knobs and the big, moving encoder and stuff like that. So, this one would probably be on the bottom of the list in terms of control, because it doesn't offer a lot of control. Whereas these give you like all of the pads, all of the knobs and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, so when it comes to picking my 2 favorite in terms of this area, I would probably go with the Oxygen Pro and the Launch Key 49. They both offer pretty much the same thing in terms of control, same amount of knobs, same amount of faders. You get Ableton clip launch, you get 16 pads, you get the fixed chord mode, you get scale mode, art mode on both. But if I had to kind of toss up between these, I would probably go with the Launch Key, for the main reason that the buttons are soft buttons, so they don't make noise when you're hitting them. So it's really good in a quiet environment, keeps you kind of, moving in that area. Whereas the Oxygen, you can hear that goodness. Anytime you're pressing anything on there, it's going to be loud. It's going to be clicky clacky. The pad feel, I like the pad feel on here. This just has more of an elegant feel, and I was very vocal about that. Even my individual review, it just feels elegant, and it feels like they took time and made it almost like a piece of art. It just feels really good to touch the buttons, to move the faders, to turn the knobs. It really feels premium in that regard, even down to the pitch being in mod wheel. It's kind of got this rubbery kind of premium feel with it. So when it comes to the other 3, you still get some really good control options with all 3 of them. You get, over with the Arturia, you still have some real nice premium knobs. They don't click and they don't do those type things like that. Whereas the Nectar, you got more clicky buttons and clacky. These just don't offer like the scale mode, the art mode. That's why I kind of put them under these 2 or what have you, because, you don't really get ARPs and scale and fixed chord mode and things like that with these particular boards. So they don't offer as much in terms of control. Now, the Oxygen Pro to me is probably one of the best ones because it has the most profiles for the most DAWs to use. You have to kind of put the Arturia in like a HUI mode type vibe to make it work with other things. Now the T6 is dope because, it's got a little bit more interactive in terms of your different menus. It gets really, really deep. And I covered that in the video that I did on it, being able to control main stage and have your main stage patches and stuff pop up on the screen and all those different things like that is really, really dope. Whereas the A61 over here, it lacks a whole lot of control. It's really minimalistic, but that doesn't mean that it's not dope. You can still control a lot of things with it, and it has multiple DAW control modes like Studio One, Ableton, Logic, of course, and it's pretty much plug and play, and you don't have to really do a whole lot with it once you get it set up. So that's kind of my thing. But if you're going for minimalistic in control, you're definitely going to want to go with the complete control. If you don't need all these knobs and faders and all of that stuff like that, you don't really care about that, I would go with this because it's very minimalistic in form factor and stuff like that. So it's really, really cool. With all of these boards, because they're in the same realm, the same price range, they all pretty much have the same, deals with controls, like I said, with these two being kind of on the top, but they're really, really good and really, really dope. So all of these are really, really dope. But when you get into the $200 to $300 range in this price range, they're all pretty much kind of competing for the same space. And they're all pretty much trying to throw the same type of level of control to you. So you have to kind of consider that. But they're all good no matter which one you decide to get in this particular realm. You're going to get some really good options for controlling multiple DAWs and multiple different, facets in different ways. So no matter which one you get, you're gonna get some really good options in terms of control and doing things like that. So now let's get down to the nitty gritty, which is probably the most important thing about these keyboards, and that is the key bed and how they feel and which one is best and all of that stuff like that. So when it comes to the key bed on all of these, there's a few things that I had to kind of consider with these and how to kind of bring into range. So things that I thought about were like the feel, the springiness, the aftertouch. Does it have aftertouch on it? All those different things like that. The quietness of the key bed, because I'll be honest, all of these are really good key beds. All of them are really, really good key beds. I can't really find many complaints with any of them outside of maybe one's a little bit louder than the other, but they're all really, really good key beds, but they're all different key beds as well. On the M Audio, you're getting kind of a lighter touch, more synth, closer to the synth action, and it's clicky clacky. So if noisiness, if you're in an environment where you kind of like maybe your keyboard is in your bedroom and your spouse or your significant other is there and that's going to bother them, you might not want to go with that one. You might want to go with something like the Arturia, which is a whole lot more quieter, in that realm, when you're running across it. But if you're just kind of chording around, it's not as loud as the M Audio is. The T6 also is a really, really good key bed, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But the Complete is noisy and it has a more springy feel, but it's a little bit more dynamic when you start actually playing sounds with it, and it feels really good. But it's going to be a little bit noisy, less noisy than the Oxygen, but a little bit more deep seated. The Launch Key is really, really good and really, really quiet as well. My thing with this particular key bed is that, to me, quite honestly, it feels just a little cheap. That's just my feel, but it's really, really dynamic. This is the strange thing about this board. It's really, really dynamic, like in that it gives you some really good touch. You can get really nuanced with it, but at the same time, the keys feel kind of plasticky, hollow, almost. That will be my only complaint with this particular keyboard and this particular key bed, is that. But as far as how it plays well. So don't let me get you wrong on this or what have you. It plays very well, but it doesn't feel as premium as they did with the knobs and the faders. The faders feel really, really good. And you know what I'm saying? Then you get down to the key bed and it's not as elegant as these are. That's just my opinion. You can take that with a grain of salt. Other people have different opinions about it. Now back to the Nectar, the T6. It's a really, really good key bed, and it's not as noisy, and it's deep seated, and you can kind of get a good nuanced feel out of it. If I had to pick one out of all of these, I would probably pick the T6 or the T4 T series as a really, really good key bed because of how deeply seated it is and how it kind of feels and plays. And the number one benefit of it, it has aftertouch. So if you're looking for a keyboard with a key bed that has aftertouch in the $200 to $300 range, it's going to be this one. Now, the only other one that has aftertouch is the Oxygen Pro 61. Neither one of these have aftertouch. So if aftertouch is a thing that you're going for a key bed, then you're going to want to look at these two. I would pick the T6 because, again, it's not as clicky clacky as the M Audio is, but it has aftertouch and it feels really, really good. So that's just my pick. The Nectar is my pick. No matter which one you choose, quite honestly, you're going to be getting a really decent key bed. It just goes down to, again, nuance and semantics when you get into the $200 to $300 range, because we're getting past the $100 cheap, $150, $120, $119 key MIDI controllers, a key, keyboard MIDI controllers. And, those are like, you don't know what you're going to get. They're like a box of chocolates. It may taste good. It may taste nasty. You don't know, they may play good, may play bad. You don't know. So when you're getting into this realm, you're getting up into the higher end of, what you would call budget keyboards or budget MIDI controllers. And they kind of, again, include some of the same features and all have really decent key beds and stuff on them. Now, as it relates to in and out and portability in this range with these size keyboards, because they're not 88 key keyboards, they all, pretty much are really portable. They all pretty much weigh around the same. The lightest probably being the Launch Key of the bunch. If you're just looking for something that's really light, the Nectar is also really light. These kind of get a little bit more, in the weight in terms of pounds, but they're all made of plastic. They all got plastic shells. They're all in the same weight class. You're not really going to have too much trouble in terms of them being portable. Now, in terms of in and out, it's a different story. The Complete being at the bottom of the barrel because it only offers a USB out and a sustain jack. Again, very minimalistic. If you're looking for that, that's really, really good. You can go with that one. But it doesn't have any MIDI, external MIDI capabilities. So you can't do any wireless MIDI or, external sound modules or anything like that, or use it in some kind of a, other rig as a secondary keyboard. Maybe you want to put it on top of your Motif Live or something like that and connect it and use it for secondary sounds. You can't do that with this. The other ones, they pretty much offer the same level of in and out. They give you an external MIDI jack. They give you a sustain pedal. And the T6 actually gives you a expression pedal for volume. These three don't give you that. So you have to kind of consider that, if you're talking about the king of in and out, I would go with the Nectar, and also because it has a power switch, boys and girls. You got to love that. The M Audio has a power switch as well. I love MIDI controllers that have on and off switches. I know some of you guys are arguing me down in the comments saying just get you a USB hub with a power switch on it, or whatever, unplug it when you walk out the room. I don't like that. That's just me. I'm a traditional kind of guy. When I'm done with something, I just want to reach back and just go click and turn it off. You know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of my flow when it comes to that. Now, the last area I want to cover is software with these particular MIDI controllers, and they all have varying degrees of software that come with them. If I had to pick a top one for software, I would probably go with the Native Instruments A61 because it comes with Complete Start, it comes with Ableton, it comes with Machine, it comes with just a ton of offerings in this area in terms of software. And then the Oxygen Pro, M Audio is always really, really good about their software package with the DB33 and Ableton Light. You also get Pro Tools first, and you get a hybrid and a few other little small nuanced software packages with these. These two, the Oxygen Pro and the Complete, are probably the top two in terms of software, followed up by the Arturia, giving you Analog Lab and Ableton and, some other little small little packages and things like that. The Launch Key, if you're an Ableton user, this is probably going to be the best one for you because this is just set up and geared, and it flows really, really good with Ableton. And you get some other little small packages like Addictive Keys and some little things like that along with it. The Nectar is probably the lowest on the totem pole as far as software is concerned. You get their Nectarine software, which I talk about that in my full review of this particular keyboard. You get that. You get a few other little small things, but it just comes down to semantics. They all come with really good software packages. You can't really argue with what you get with it, and people buy it for different reasons. If you're going for software, if you want a good keyboard that's got good control, good all that stuff like that, with good software, then you're probably going to want to go with either the Complete, because it's going to give you probably the best bang for your buck, and then followed by the Oxygen. Again, these are all really, really good MIDI controllers. They're all really, really good. And when we get into this realm, $200, $300, we're arguing semantics. We're arguing over, small little nuanced things about, does the keyboard click? Do the buttons click? What kind of software does it have? Aftertouch? All of those things like that. If I had to pick one that was going to work for me, in my particular situation, this is just me. I would go with the T6, the T series, because I really like the feel of the board, and I really like the fact that it has aftertouch. That works for me as a producer. I can't really determine what works for you as a producer. You have different nuanced needs than what I have. I'm not a big thing on control. I have a couple of control surfaces already. I have a fader port by Presonus. I have my Raven screen. So I don't really need a MIDI controller that has a whole lot of knobs and buttons and faders. They're just not going to get used in my particular case because I already have so many other, control, options. So for me, it boils down to the key bed. How does it feel? How does it play? How does it respond when I'm playing? And for me, the Nectar really kind of does it in terms of playing. It checks that box. It feels good, has enough keys, and it has aftertouch. And it's quiet. It's not clicky. It doesn't, it doesn't do all of that. It's compact. It's small. And it does what I need for it to do. You have to decide based on the information that I presented about all of these other keyboards about which one is going to work for your particular situation. So I hope this video helped you. I hope it blessed you. I hope I gave you the insight that you came here to look for. And I hope it helped you make an informed decision about which one you want to buy, which one you want to add to your arsenal. So that's all I have for you today. There's affiliate links to all of these keyboards down in the description of this video. It really helps out the channel when you jump in and do this. There's a join button that you can jump in, and it helps the channel out. You can just join in and help support what I do as a creative, as a producer, all of those things like that. So check out the links down in the description of the video. Those things don't cost you anything. I got a free ebook down there. I never really talk about it. I just have it in the description. Free ebook. It's down in the description. You can click the link. It'll give you, my whole mindset on doing music full time, things like that. So those things don't cost you nothing. They're absolutely free. Do those things. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys think about it. If I did good, if I gave you the information that you were looking for. So that's it. I'll talk to you guys on the next one. What you can do is you can hit the like button. You can hit the share button. You can drop a comment below. Hit subscribe. Turn on notifications. I'll talk to you guys on the next one. I'm out. Holla at your boy.